So when people say cult, you know, when people like to throw that word around, oh, he's in a cult, he's in a cult. What comes to mind for me is Rastafari, the Rastafarians.
When you hear the term Rastafari, chances are a successfully programmed Pavlovian conditioning makes you think essentially of Bob Marley and Cannabis. But what if I told you that Rastafari was not only an actual person, but in fact he was a murderous genocidal dictator? What if I told you that the Rastafarian ideology is a 100% fabricated mind control program created by parasitic Freemasons with the purpose of distorting history and brainwashing the youth into worshipping both cannabis as well as a tyrannical warlord, while believing that he was a benevolent and righteous God in the flesh? You see, most people believe that Rastafarianism has roots that go very far back in time, and that cannabis use in Jamaica is quite probably as ancient as humanity itself. But the reality is that Rastafarianism is a Psyop that was first planted only in the 1930s, and cannabis was introduced to Jamaica by the controllers in the 1860s, like most things were after the previous Great Reset. It's time to dive deeper. Hey yo BG, tell the people what's up, brother.
Rastafari, let's talk about him. I'm gonna take you through the cult of personality. There's a lot of people in attendance that don't know Rastafari was an actual person. Rastafari was the last Ethiopian emperor. He was born Tafari Makonnen. That was his real name, Tafari Makonnen. He got the name Ras, which means head or duke, when he grew up. That was his pre-emperor name, Ras Tafari. He later became Selassie. That was his emperor name. Now, for those of you who don't know who Marcus Garvey is, that'll be for another day. One of Marcus Garvey's followers, Leonard Howe, was a big proponent of separation. All black people go back to Africa. The African people in the diaspora, go back to Africa. He preached that shit. He was a Pan-Africanist. He convinced other Jamaicans that Haile Selassie was Christ returned in the flesh. So with this new doctrine that Haile Selassie was, the Messiah, it started to spread. It was very attractive to the youth and Jamaicans in general. This is how easily people are fooled. And this is where I'm going with the cult of personality.
Okay, let's break things down and have a quick look at Rastafari's timeline. He was born in Ethiopia in 1892, and his original name was Tafari Makonnen. He received the title Liege by default, which is a hereditary monarchic title given at birth to male children of noble blood. Then, in 1917, he was crowned Ras, which means Duke or Lord. That's where the term Ras Tafari comes from, and all it means is simply Duke Tafari. Finally, in 1930, he was crowned Emperor, and his full title became His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah, elect of God and light of the universe.
Wow, talk about dedication!
One so-called official fact about Selassie that I find fascinating is that according to the totally not controlled and most definitely not propaganda website biography.com, Selassie is said to have been born in a mud hut. So, we are being told that a child born into one of those very special and absolutely essential monarchic bloodlines of philanthropists, whose father was a Ras himself, covered with the finest gold and the highest Masonic decorations, was born in a mud hut? Well, I don't know, maybe the expert historians at biography.com actually wrote Selassie was born in a golden cradle. But these autocorrect algorithms are getting out of hand lately. I think we are off to a great start already. But it gets better, so much better. Before we dive into the remarkable accomplishments and legacy of the great King of Kings, let's quickly have a look at who his good close friends were. Because as ancient wisdom says, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. Here we see Ras Tafari with Queen Elizabeth II. Get yourself a woman that looks at you like Liz looked at Ras Tafari. I mean, just vibing. This is not a Masonic handshake. Who's a good boy? You are, Ras Tafari. Here is Ras Tafari doing another totally not Masonic handshake with the benevolent Spanish General Franco, who was bowing down to the light of the universe precisely because he acknowledged His Holiness. And here we see Ras Tafari offering Franco a little recuerdo. Here is Ras Tafari offering Paul VI something he had never seen before, a golden chalice. Here is Ras Tafari with Yugoslavian Marshal Tito. I mean, good fellas. If there's something that money can't buy, is brotherhood. And once more, sharing the loot, because sharing is caring. Here is Ras Tafari with Gamal Nasser from Egypt, who was not a dictator. What a connection. Here is Ras Tafari with Mao, not a dictator. Intense. Here is Ras Tafari with Gustav VI from Sweden, who also knew that the King of Kings was the chosen one. And here is Ras Tafari with Zulfikar Bhutto from Pakistan, who was not a dictator either. Ras Tafari with Roosevelt, Ras Tafari with Lyndon Johnson, Ras Tafari with Nixon, Ras Tafari parading with Kennedy, Here we have Ras Tafari with the benevolent Antonio Salazar and Américo Tomás. Not a dictator either. And once again sharing some more of the loot. Here is Winston Churchill bowing down to the conquering lion. And finally, here we see Dag Hammarskjöld, Secretary General of the United Nations, also bowing down to the Lord of Lords on the day of establishment of the UN Economic Commission for Africa.
Do you see it yet? Do you see it yet?
Okay, I think we've seen enough of his family album. Did you know that during Ras Tafari's lifetime, he was recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records as having been awarded the most military, state and dynastic decorations of any person ever? Just look at this. Press pause if you'd like to analyze his decorations in depth. But wait, there's more. And more. And some more. And even more. Okay, now that's all.
Do you see it yet? Do you see it yet?
If I can make you believe that a genocidal dictator, agent of the New World Order, is God in the flesh, then what can't I make you believe?